Admiral Isoroku Yamamoto, born in 1884 and died in 1943, was one of the Japan's most prominent naval officers during the early 20th century and a key figure in the Pacific theater of World War II. He is best known for his strategic genius, his role in planning the attack on Pearl Harbor, and his complex views on Japan's war with the United States. Early life and career. Isoroku Yamamoto was born on April 4, 1884 in Nagaoka, Niigata Prefecture, Japan, as the son of a samurai who served as a local lord. Originally named Isoroku Takano, he was adopted into the Yamamoto family at the age of 32, as was customary in Japan at the time. In 1904, Yamamoto graduated from the Imperial Japanese Naval Academy, placing seventh in a class of 200. He served as a junior officer during the Russo-Japanese War in 1904 to 1905, where he was wounded at the Battle of Tsushima, losing 2 fingers on his left hand. This injury became a distinctive feature throughout his life. Yamamoto's career was shaped significantly by his exposure to Western culture from 1919 to 1921. He studied at Harvard University in the United States, where he gained insight into American society, industry, and military potential. Later, as a naval attaché in Washington, D.C., Yamamoto further deepened his understanding of the U.S. and developed respect for its industrial power. His time in the West profoundly influenced his strategic thinking. He realized that a prolonged war with the United States would likely end in disaster for Japan due to America's vast industrial and military resources. Despite this belief, Yamamoto remained loyal to Japan's imperial ambitions. In the 1920s and 1930s, Yamamoto rose through the ranks of Imperial Japanese Navy, becoming a vocal advocate for naval aviation and modern warfare. He played a key role in Japan's adoption of aircraft carriers, recognizing their potential to revolutionize naval combat. Yamamoto's forward-thinking ideas put him at odds with the more conservative factions within the Japanese military, who favored battleships and traditional naval doctrines. In 1939, Yamamoto was appointed Commander-in-Chief of the Combined Fleet, giving him control over Japan's naval operations as tensions with the United States escalated in the early 1940s. Yamamoto found himself at the center of Japan's war strategy. Despite his reservations about going to war with the United States, Yamamoto was tasked with planning Japan's opening strike. He orchestrated the attack on Pearl Harbor, which took place on December 7, 1941. The surprise assault aimed to cripple the US Pacific Fleet, giving Japan time to secure its territorial ambitions in Southeast Asia and the Pacific. The attack was initially a resounding tactical success, sinking or damaging 8 US battleships and destroying numerous aircraft. However, it failed to achieve its ultimate goal, neutralizing US aircraft carriers, which were not in part at the time. Moreover, the attack galvanized American public opinion, leading to a swift declaration of war. Yamamoto reportedly remarked after the attack, I fear all we have done is to awaken a sleeping giant and fill him with a terrible resolve." Yamamoto continued to lead Japan's naval strategy during the early years of the Pacific War. In 1942, he planned the Battle of Midway, an ambitious operation to destroy the remaining US aircraft carriers and solidify Japan's dominance. However, US cryptographers had broken Japanese naval codes, enabling the Americans to anticipate and counter the attack. The Battle of Midway in June 1942 ended in disaster for Japan, with the loss of 4 aircraft carriers and many of its experienced pilots. This marked a turning point in the war, shifting the balance of power in the Pacific toward the Allies. By 1943, the Allies had begun to gain momentum in the Pacific. Yamamoto, ever on the hands-on leader, insisted on visiting Japanese bases in the Solomon Islands to boost morale. On April 18, 1943, his transport plane was intercepted by US Army Air Force's P-38 Lightning fighters near Bougainville Island, acting on intelligence from intercepted Japanese communications, codenamed Operation Vengeance. The US ambushed Yamamoto's flight and he was killed when his plane crashed. This death was a significant blow to Japanese morale, as Yamamoto was not only a brilliant strategist but also a unifying figure within the Imperial Navy. Admiral Yamamoto remains a controversial and complex figure in history. While he masterminded one of the most infamous attacks of World War II, he was also a pragmatic and reluctant advocate of Japan's war against the United States. His strategic vision and innovations in naval aviation left an indelible mark on military history. In Japan, Yamamoto is remembered as a patriot who served his country with dedication, even as he foresaw the ultimate consequences of the war. Internationally, he is often regarded as a brilliant but tragic figure whose talents were ultimately unable to overcome the structural disadvantages faced by Japan during the war.